Hello, traveler. Thank you for being here. Tonight we have a full moon in Virgo. So, as always, we will pull some runes and some cards and see what messages are trying to reach you tonight. We have two piles. Pile 1 is the Anima Mundi tarot. You've seen me use a lot. And pile 2 is the classic Rider-Waite Smith tarot. So just take a few deep breaths to center your energy and ground yourself. And choose the pile that is speaking to you the most. Remember, your intuition works pretty quickly in the first couple seconds. So, don't overthink it. And I'd also like to ask you to remember that this reading is for the collective. So, just take the messages that resonate for you and leave the rest for someone else. And I'll see you at your pile. Hello, pile 1. If you chose the Anima Mundi tarot, then this reading is for you. We will start with some runes, as usual, so I'll move the deck over to the side. My rune bag is covered in cat hair, because my cat is very interested anytime I do a reading or a ritual. As you all know, he almost always shows up and tries to get involved. So we'll pull some runes just to get an overview of what this pile's reading is about today. Okay. So all of our runes have fallen face up, which in my experience is pretty unusual. So I'm going to go ahead and say that pile 1 has a lot going on right now. Maybe you're in the middle of a very hectic period. It does seem to be overall pretty positive thing. Maybe this is a really busy time at work, or maybe you are in a field that's a little more freelance or gig-based, and you have a lot of offers coming in at the same time, or you're starting to feel like things are overlapping with each other, and you may be starting to feel a little overwhelmed, or like you're worried you can't handle all of it, or you've bitten off more than you can chew, and you're just kind of trying to get through it and waiting for the time of rest that you're going to have. I'm also picking up a little bit of, how do I put this? Almost like the grass is always greener energy. I mean this with love, of course. We're all guilty of it, myself included, but I get a little sense of maybe things were a little quiet or a little slow and for a while, and that may have felt a little frustrating to you, or a little bit like scary even, maybe there was even a sense of boredom during that quiet period, and you found yourself sort of wishing for things to pick up or something to happen. Maybe there was a stagnation period. It feels, I'm getting a lot of energy of more career and work related things, but of course it could be a relationship as well, or a project, personal project. But for that period, it was feeling like it was never going to gain momentum. And now you've gotten your wish, you got what you asked for, things are moving forward, things are starting to happen, and it's starting to turn around financially and otherwise. And now you're starting to long for the time when you had more rest and more downtime. So just something to keep an eye on, that it's possible that you are focused more on what you don't have in any given moment, because no matter where we are in our cycle or in our process, there's always something that we've given up or something we don't have anymore. That's part of progression and change, and evolution is leaving something behind or shedding something. And once you realize that life works in a cyclical way, and you start to notice patterns that sometimes you have one thing while you don't have another, and then it comes back around. So you have downtime, but you don't have the work or the stimulation or the financial security, and then you have that, you feel successful, you feel motivated, you have all this going on, but you long for that rest and that downtime that you didn't have. So it's really all about finding balance, and also learning to really hone in on enjoying where you are in that moment, knowing that it will always change. No matter how good or how bad something is, it always changes. So focusing on where you are and enjoying it can save you from some of this ennui or stress or anxiety that is additional, that you're putting on yourself, that doesn't need to be there. So just something to look at. But if that resonates for you, or you feel connected to that message, then stick around and I'll pull some cards. Let's see if we can get some clarification on this message. Yeah, there's that time of rest we were talking about. So let's see. Ooh, cards are very energetic today. Or maybe my hands are card turned the wrong way. Okay. I want it to come out. Knight of Pentacles, slow, steady, financial security, reliability. So we're definitely starting to see some of the themes. King of Cups. Deep emotions. Could be an indication that some of you are dealing with a love situation. Let me see how much room I have here in my frame. See that? Yeah, almost. Make some more room here. Okay, the Eight of Cups, leaving something behind. So maybe this is about a relationship for some of you, or a deeply held emotional project, a passion project, art, a business that you started that's very personal to you. Could be indicating some of those things. Or maybe that's almost like a piece of the overall questions that you're dealing with. Maybe there's a little bit of a side issue, or perhaps the sort of confusion that you're feeling, or the unsettled, there's almost like an unsettled energy, because it's like you wanted something and then you got it, and now you're not sure you want it. Maybe you want to go back. You're just trying to figure out what you actually want. And maybe that's spreading to the other parts of your relationships and stuff. Interesting. So we've got the other cat hair. We've got the Five of Pentacles in reverse, which indicates loss. In reverse, obviously it can mean not a loss. And next to the Eight of Cups, I find it very interesting because the Eight of Cups is walking away from something, but the message is coming through that you walked away from something, but it wasn't a loss, or it didn't feel like a loss. I'm not sure if that's a message for you, letting you know that what you walked away from needed to leave your life and it was the right decision. Maybe that's a confirmation that some of you needed. Oh, yeah, very strong. It's funny, it's almost like because I said I wasn't getting the energy of a relationship or love in the rune reading, the cards are coming out to let me know really strongly that it very much could be a love relationship or a partnership as well. Look at all these cups. We only have cups and pentacles here. So that always indicates for me a sort of push and pull between head and heart. Pentacles are very practical and very grounded. Could also be earth sign and water sign. But there's definitely, it's almost like there's a feeling of, if I walk away or if I leave this behind, what will my practical losses be? I hate to put it that way, but it's possible. Maybe some of you out there are contemplating, ending a business partnership, closing down a business, or a divorce, and you're really thinking about what the financial ramifications of that would be, and that's a very real issue that many people face. So it's possible, if that's you, if that's exactly what you're dealing with, maybe this is a very specific message for you. Let's see what the advice is here. The Star. So whatever it is that you dream about, that you fantasize about, or you wish you could have, is what you need to keep in mind. Knight of Cups. Yeah. Maybe you are feeling like your situation, I'll call it a situation because I don't know if it's a relationship, romantic relationship, friendship, or work partnership, is lacking some of the spontaneity and fun. Yeah, okay. Now, I know this is extremely specific, but someone is contemplating divorce or is talking about divorce or quitting a job, severing a partnership. But it's a partnership that has legal documents involved in it. It's a partnership that has been made official legally. So that could mean that there are contracts, of course, marriage contract. Yeah, someone is definitely feeling like this partnership might not be living up to what they had dreamed it would be or hoped it would be, or they're not able to get what they need out of this partnership. And it sounds like what you need, or whoever I'm connecting to, what you're feeling like you need is more spontaneity, more fun, more lightheartedness, a little less intensity maybe. And I have some more guidance for pile 1. Thank you. Yeah, this is stressing you out. You're carrying this burden around right now. And maybe you haven't even really talked to anybody about it. Maybe this is just something that's knocking around in your head. And of course it's a huge decision. I can understand why you would want, to really think that through and think about it from all angles before you make a decision like that. And of course, I will never tell you what to do in your life. You know yourself best. I always recommend trying to get into a meditative state, whether that's, traditional meditation or doing something meditative like doing a repetitive task like coloring or jogging or swimming or doodling or journaling. Need more guidance for... Okay. Kind of being told to get a different deck. So, one moment. Okay. Got an oracle deck to see if there's a clearer, maybe a more specific message for you, pile 1, whoever I'm connecting to here. I have a message for pile 1, please. You. Look at this image of someone meditating. Really strong guidance to reconnect with yourself and to put yourself first. I'm seeing that a lot here. Any more messages for pile 1? Any more messages for pile 1? Guide. Okay. So, definitely a call to connect with your inner being, your intuition, your higher self. Try to quiet the noise of all of the people around you. If you have been trying to get advice from others, that's a good thing to gather information and, take it on board and kind of sit with it. But definitely at the end of the day, you always want to come back to your own inner voice, You want to feel that your decisions are coming from you and from your own inner wisdom, which you do have, You might feel very lost right now, but you're not alone. The guide card is clearly saying, you are protected, someone is walking your path with you, So you're not alone, and even if maybe what's holding back your decision is you're afraid of being alone, and this is a really good reminder that you're not. You, first of all, are not an isolated, kernel of something. You are a multitude. The complete you is not one thing. So we're never alone, even if we're on our own. But aside from that, you also have guides, and your guides are really encouraging you to have faith, to have courage, to boldly walk your path as they walk it with you, and to try not to get sidetracked by fear, and to not be afraid of what you think is going to be loss if you're following this, the star. Yeah, I feel like pile 1, you have a really, really difficult decision to make, and I am just sending you so much love and support as you try to kind of parse through what's right for you and come to, a decision that is for your highest and greatest good and will encourage transformation and evolution for you and expansion for you in your life experience that you're living right now, your journey that you're on. And I hope that you don't get too wrapped up in what other people expect of you or other people's, desires or their goals. That their journey is their responsibility, and you're part of other people's journey, but no one can pluck you out of yours and put you in theirs. If that makes sense, you're the main character of your story. You're not a side character in everyone else's. So those are the messages that I felt called to give you today. I hope that they were helpful. I hope that, you know, whoever this very pretty specific message was for is able to connect with it. And I hope that this full moon really illuminates some things for you and helps to clarify some of the things that have felt maybe confusing or have been sort of murky and hard to see. The full moon is really good for that. So I wish you a very clarifying and illuminating full moon. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you in my next reading. Bye-bye. Hello, Pile 2. If you chose the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, then this is your pile. I'm going to move the cards off to the side. So as usual, we can start with pulling some runes. And we'll try to see what this reading is going to focus on for you. Okay, Pile 2. I can see that you are feeling like you're in a bit of a holding pattern right now. Something is feeling like you're being held back by something. Something is restraining you, restricting you, and you feel like maybe you're at a breaking point, or you feel one coming soon where you can't wait any longer. So this could be a deadline coming up, or a decision that needs to be made that has a deadline attached to it. I'm getting a lot of energy of possibly there's a medical issue that's coming through very specifically. Maybe you're waiting for an appointment with someone, maybe you're waiting for a procedure, you're waiting for them to give you a date for something to happen, and in the meantime you're getting anxious and you're also feeling concerned that maybe this is getting worse, or you can feel symptoms worsening. Something like that. Like something, it feels like there's something kind of, the energy is like this. It's like looming, but it's also kind of nagging at you. It's not like a sharp, insistent, like this is an emergency right now, but it feels like it's slowly building and creating a sense of, an ominous feeling for you. So if this feels like something you connect to, then stick around, I'll pull some cards. Very different energy from Pile 1. Okay. Oh. Okay, so maybe there's a feeling of potential distrust here. Maybe you think someone's not being completely honest with you, or you feel like you're being given the runaround. It doesn't feel like an overt, lie or maliciousness or someone trying to do something, bad or hurtful, but it feels like you have the feeling that you're not being given the whole story, or maybe it's, you keep calling, a law office, or you keep calling your health insurance, or you keep calling your landlord, or, it's something where you are continually working on trying to resolve this or to get a resolution about this, and it feels like you never get a solid answer, or maybe they tell you that the person you're trying to reach isn't there, and you just can feel that there's something not right about that, something off about that, and it's starting to feel really overwhelming. Yeah. You definitely are feeling like you don't have all the information, and that you might be walking into something blind, and you are not enjoying that feeling. Okay, what else for pile 2? Some more messages for pile 2. Thank you. Okay. So, really good news, pile 2. You are on your way out of this situation, and your patience has been noticed, and a little more patience will be required, but it's almost like you're over the hump, or you're past the hardest part. You're on your way to calmer waters. So if you've been feeling like this will never end, this is a strong indication that it will, and that you're almost there, and that you've done a great job. And, we never know the reason for why things happen to us until much later. We get the perspective with time, to understand what purpose the struggle we had, or the roadblock we encountered serves in this lifetime for us. So you don't need to try to understand it right now. Okay, this would indicate, maybe that there was an imbalance that needed to be corrected somewhere along the line. Maybe it was a skill that you needed to develop for later. Okay, the message I'm getting is that down the line, when you encounter anything even remotely similar to what you're going through now, or what you've just been through, this is preparing you for the future, when something in a similar vein, or something that calls up similar feelings in you, might happen. And because you've already processed this, and you've already created this sense of strength around it through what you have gone through now, you won't even feel it. And I'm not saying that something worse is going to happen or anything like that. In all of our lives, we have situations where we feel stuck, or we feel out of control, we feel out of balance, we feel like we're being kept in the dark, and that can create panic, and it can create severe anxiety, and that's a skill. Resilience to those things is a skill that's useful no matter what happens in our lives. There's always going to be something like that. So it's the message I'm getting is that that's part of your journey right now, is to learn how to balance within yourself those factors, and you're going to see through this experience, because you're on your way out of this, and you're on your way to those calmer waters, where this will be in the past, and you'll have the perspective to be able to look back on it, and that will help build your resilience against these kinds of feelings in the future, if that makes sense. Yeah, got the Knight of Cups came out, and that's a very positive energy. It's a very almost celebratory energy, I would even say. Moderately fast moving, very positive, joyful. It's almost congratulatory. You can see he's offering this cup as he comes kind of prancing in across this river towards this landscape. You can see on the left here, it's a barren landscape, and on the right, there's starting to be trees, next to the river, and that's the same thing here. You're leaving, you can see how almost similar the imagery is. You're leaving these rough waters, and you're heading towards the calm waters, and on the shoreline are these trees, and that's the same theme here. I've never noticed the connection between those cards before, or how similar the energy is. This one's a little more practical, and this one's a little more emotional, but it's the same story that they're telling, kind of just making your way towards something better. It gets better and better each day. That's the message, which is great. I love hearing that, especially if you're feeling, like you're very stuck in this Isa energy right now. Yeah, Temperance. I was just about, before that card flew out, I was looking at this card while I was shuffling, and I was about to say your patience has really served you. And Temperance flew out, and it's just a confirmation that your approach of biding your time and kind of waiting until you have all the information before you make any big decisions, and kind of allowing things to unfold, even though internally it's felt really difficult and you've had some distrust and you've kind of felt like you're not sure if it's going to shake out in your favor. This is being rewarded now. You're being told that this approach was the right move. You can see she's got one foot in the water here as she just kind of slowly pours the liquid from cup to cup. And in the background, there's a path leading towards this happier place, this ultimate goal. And she's not bothered. She knows she's going to get there. I guess, it's not necessarily a she. But this angel energy is, not worried that they're never going to make it there. But they're standing where they are right now and dealing with the issue at hand, knowing that that's the path they're going to walk after this passes. So that's kind of the energy. That's the positive side of the energy that you've been in. The worry, the anxiety, the trying to kind of, control things a little bit or see if there's a way to control things, that has created a little bit of fear, but your actions and the choices that you've made have been more in line with this, which is why, you're on the right track and heading out of this sort of stuck period. So that's wonderful. It may not have felt intentional while you were doing it. Maybe you felt more paralyzed out of fear to not, go one way or the other. But at the end of the day, the result has been the same, which is that you haven't gone too hard in either direction, and it's sort of allowed things, it's been a blessing in disguise. It's allowed things to unfold the way that they are supposed to, and you've gained a lot of wisdom during this, whether you feel it now or not. Looking back, you will be able to see what the benefit of this period was in your life as a whole and what you gained from it. Yeah, see, the Two of Wands is about making plans, waiting, kind of waiting for the ship to come in, kind of looking at the bigger picture, mulling things over, planning essentially. And that is what you've been doing, and it's allowing forward momentum to begin, the Chariot, moving forward. So if anything, I feel like this reading is just a little bit of a validation, confirmation, support, reassurance that you are staying the course correctly, that, maybe shift your mindset a little bit, but your actions and your choices of what you've been doing is the right thing. And I don't know if that's something you've been questioning or not, or if it's felt like maybe you've been feeling this stuckness, or this stuck energy is coming from you. Maybe you have been hard on yourself because you haven't made a choice or you haven't taken a step forward. And this is reassuring you that there was a good reason for that. I pulled an oracle card for pile 1, so I'd like to pull one for you as well. What additional message does pile 2 need? Oh, went flying. Fears. Interesting. Obviously trying to call attention to some of those fears that work their way in and kind of, pepper through your mindset and maybe try to whisper in your ear, convince you that you should be acting or doing something different. Maybe even making you feel like you are on a deadline or a timeline. Maybe that timeline we talked about in the Rune reading is an artificial one that you've created in your mind, but your fears have made it really real. Could be the case. Can I please have one more message for pile 2? One more message for pile 2. Submission. Another way of saying surrender, you know? We talked about allowing and letting things kind of unfold, even though you may have done it out of fear. You are submitting to the natural order of how this is going to shake out and the energies unfolding. And that is, I mean, how many confirmations do we need in one reading that is what is meant to be? That's what's meant to happen. And it's just a reminder that even though it probably feels quite uncomfortable and you're doing a lot of ruminating about it in your mind, you know, with the swords, this is very clearly saying, you know, trust the process. Yeah. I hope that this gives you a little bit of peace and comfort. You know, I'm not trying to stop your beautiful brain from working through things or from critical thinking. That's obviously very important to continue to suss things out, but you know, maybe there's a little bit of you that can let go, just a tiny part of you that can let go of trying to control everything, as you start, and it'll become easier as you start to see that you're heading towards a little bit of a calmer, more peaceful place where things feel like they are working out as they should. You know, there's going to be a sort of comfort to that. So I think that's coming up very soon if it's not already happening. So I hope you enjoy that, and I hope that brings you a lot of peace and a lot of affirmation. And, you know, maybe in the waning moon phase, you know, this is a full moon, so the moon's going to start to wane after this. And that is a great time for things to kind of calm down, slow down, a cycle to close out before a new cycle begins with the new moon. And it's also, you know, it's coming up on spring. Spring is slowly beginning, and that's another great time for new beginnings. So allowing things to kind of go dormant in their own time and give birth to something new. We can't force that process. You know, sometimes it's really slow, and sometimes there's a lot of, you know, scary moments along the way. But if you allow it to unfold, then the perspective that you have looking back on it is very clear, and you can take that wisdom forward with you into the rest of your life. It's a beautiful reading, pile 2. I really hope that it helped you, and I hope that something, you know, resonated for you. And as always, thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next reading.